Okay, good morning and welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a really exciting topic, which is how AI summaries are reshaping marketing, and more importantly, how to stay visible in 2026. I'm Simon Isaac, I'm the founder of Capsule, and joining me today is Bess, one of our very talented digital marketing executives who's prepared this webinar and is delivering with me today. So our goal is to explore part of the vital role that AI now plays in marketing. That's why we're all here, and how we can work with it rather than against it. Today, we look at how AI is transforming content creation and why it's so important to start adapting right now. As we move through the webinar, think about how your own behavior has changed as well when you search for content, because we're going to be asking you a few questions about that a little later on. In the background, we've got Charlotte, who's administering the webinar today, and we'll be taking your questions, which if when you do have them, please pop them into the chat and we'll take them at the end. Any that we don't have time to answer within the sort of allotted time for the webinar, we will get back to you by email with a response. So before we get properly stuck in, let's give you a quick intro to us. So we're Capsule Marketing. We're a digital first marketing agency. We're based in the east of England, but work with clients all over the world. We've been around since 2010 when I founded the company. And in that time, I've seen digital marketing change immensely. Content creation has changed dramatically. And today we're here to help guide you through some of the biggest shifts that we're seeing. So we'll walk you through a few key areas. First, we look at what's changed in the marketing landscape. Then we'll explore how people's behavior is adapting and what that actually means for how our content is found online. We'll also share some practical tips for writing content that resonates with both people and machines, because getting the right balance is becoming more important than ever as we head into 2026. And then we'll touch on trends in social media and we'll wrap up with some clear steps that you can take to prepare for the year ahead. Throughout the webinar, please feel free to jot down questions in the chat. As I said, we'll have a Q&A at the end where we can dig a bit deeper into anything that you'd like to explore. So let's jump in. So what's changed? So what has actually changed in marketing recently? A key thing we're seeing a big shift, aren't we, away from traditional SEO tactics,
Yeah.
but the need for SEO does still exist. So what has changed then? So first of all, I think the old tick box SEO methods, they just aren't as effective anymore. And instead, there's a much stronger emphasis on quality, originality, and authority. They're now the things that really help brands stand out in today's digital world. As I said, that doesn't mean SEO is irrelevant. In fact, standard SEO practices are still essential if you want to appear organically, particularly, but also if you want to appear in AI overviews, summaries, or chat GPT results. So SEO is still the foundation. It just isn't the whole story anymore. Now, that means shifting your focus towards creating unique, authoritative content that genuinely resonates with your audience. It's essential. And authenticity is more important than ever. Both people and search engines are looking for real, valuable insights, not recycled information. Now, as we continue through the webinar, think about how these changes might impact your current marketing strategy. So we've got a few questions. This is to get you thinking. And as I said, if you'd like to, feel free to drop your answers in the chat as well. Now, as a true and avid consumer and also a devoted marketer, I'm constantly looking at marketing in the shoes of the target audience. I've worked in marketing for over 30 years, and I've always thought like this. I always think of the audience and how they're going to respond to something. But I think we can often overcomplicate things in marketing. Sometimes all we really need to do is put ourselves on the receiving end in the shoes of the audience. So let's do that now and look at how our own behavior is changing when we search for information. So first of all, how many of you find yourselves relying more on the Google summary rather than clicking through search results? Now, personally, I rarely click on sites anymore, only when I absolutely need to, because I can usually get the information straight from either Google's AI summary or maybe by using ChatGPT. And this leads me to my next question. Uh, how many of you turn to tools like ChatGPT for your queries? I imagine a lot of you are using it every day. And for many people, it's becoming a primary search tool. I think that's what you would say, that's what you would use best.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always using it, not just for products or
Mm.
things that I want to buy, but also just like personal things, like if I'm not feeling well or for
You're
recipes when
looking
I'm
for
cooking.
answers.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
a quick
yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always use it.
And on top of this, I think, trust plays a huge role in the choices that we make. So ask yourselves, what makes you trust a business or an organization? Is it their authenticity? Is it their reviews? Or is it their community involvement, where they're actually having conversations with people? And then one more question to consider is before you make a purchase or make a decision, what do you typically do? Do you read reviews? Do you compare products? Do you ask for recommendations? As I mentioned earlier, feel free to share any of your own thoughts of experiences in the chat as well
I
as we
think
go through.
you
Mhm.
actually were speaking about this earlier, about your experience with B2B, especially as a owner of a company.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. We've recently invested in a whole raft of new film and camera equipment, and to work with the sort of the AI technology that's built into the cameras, I wanted to make sure we had the right video conversion tools. So I did quite a bit of research to make my decision, and I found a lot of the answers I wanted in Reddit and about people's own experiences of it.
Yeah.
And when we come to another slide later on, you'll see how even the organization, which is a large global organization that produces a lot of software products, has used Reddit as a tool to help its own customers. Okay, so now that I've got you all thinking, I'm going to hand over to Bess, who's going to take us into the next part of the webinar.
Thank you, Simon, and hello, everyone. So in this next section, we're going to go into how people's behaviour is changing. So from the questions Simon asked earlier, you're probably already seeing the shift happening even in your own behaviours. I know I have. So before we dive in, I want to share a quick real world example that we're seeing recently. So we're seeing in a lot of our marketing reports that website traffic is going down. And this is just because of the behavior changes that we will discuss in this slide. So one of the biggest changes that we are seeing is people's search behavior, and we're seeing the rise of the zero-click world. So this is basically people are getting information from the AI summaries that you see in Google, and not actually needing to click on a website. So this basically means that less traffic to websites. So if you
It's a
think,
norm, yeah,
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 and I was thinking about this even when I see this myself when I go like into Google, I never really click on the website anymore,
yeah,
just if I really need to,
yeah.
but not
Interesting
searching for
times.
information anymore.
Mm.
So yeah, if you think back to the question Simon asked earlier, you probably as well see this in many of your own habits. And I just put like an example in here for you guys to see. So it's changed so much. When you search something in Google, you'll see at the top there you get the AI overview, and the websites will be below that. So that's taking up a lot of space that SEO isn't taking up
It's
anymore
the full
as
first
previously.
fold, isn't it? So, I mean, as we said, SEO is still relevant,
Yeah,
but on the first fold here, it's incredible to see that, you've got some advertising at the top, but this is free as well, this AI overview.
yeah,
And this brand, this website is featuring their
yeah,
best t-shirt brands 2025.
yeah.
It's incredible to see. So it's changed significantly.
Definitely. And then a major shift that we've seen is that trust is now being built before a
Mm.
click is happening. So people are forming an impression of your brand or your business before they even land on your website. So this can be through TikTok reviews, Reddit threads, creator recommendations. So for example, in Simon's when he was looking for that video
Yeah.
platform, he was looking through Reddit. So a lot of people are building an impression of your business before even clicking on your website. So these early touch points really matter now more than ever. So it's really important to think about how the first impressions play a part to people looking for your products or your services. And then another thing that we have seen is that new discovery paths emerge. So people aren't just browsing anymore. They're being guided by algorithms, AI summaries, and also recommendation feeds. So it's no longer enough just to be visible in search alone. It is still important, but also you need to be visible in these new discovery routes as well. So as we move forward, I want you to keep these shifts in mind as they're not just reshaping how people find information, but also how brands and businesses need to communicate and also show up for your audiences. So this is a great time to start thinking about your 2026 strategy as well.
I think this is new language as well, discovery paths,
Yeah,
people searching for content.
yeah,
It's like it's a whole new world essentially, isn't it?
yeah. So now that we understand how people's behavior has changed, you're probably also thinking now, how can we actually stay visible? Especially because this is really important, a really important question because of Google's click-through. With Google's click-through rate, people Google's click-through rate are dropping by 32% since AI overviews have rolled out. And also there's been 5.24 billion monthly visits on
Incredible.
ChatGPT. So that's a lot of people going to ChatGPT monthly to find out the information and looking on there for information. So if your brand can show up in there, then that means you're going to be showing up for a lot of people.
It's like a whole new competitive landscape, really, for
Definitely.
visibility, isn't it?
It's become so much more competitive now,
Yeah.
but it's exciting for 2026. The question is, how do we stay visible? So one really important thing that you can do is optimize for brand mentions. So this means making sure that your brand is being positively talked about and also consistently. So this can be across the different platforms. So brand mentions help credibility, recognition, without solely relying on people clicking through your website. So which we're seeing this is becoming harder and harder. So if you can mention your brand somewhere else, and not just on your site, then that's really good for brand awareness and also for people seeing your site and being more visible. So a big part of this is joining the conversation. So one way you can do this is go onto forums or onto Reddit, wherever your audience is, and it all spends time. So have a look and figure out where your audience is spending their time. Go onto those platforms or those forums, and try to give them some helpful insights or be present in a way that builds trust for them. So this is definitely not about dropping spammy marketing replies or unrelated information on like an unrelated platform to your business. You need to find out where your audience is hanging out basically on the
And
digital
having
scale.
conversations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just like a natural conversation. You don't need to put like a spammy marketing reply there. Oh, and then this is the
Yeah, we talked about this morning, so we've dropped this in actually.
yeah,
So the tool that I was mentioning, the video conversion
yeah,
tool, like I said, it's quite a big player in the marketplace, global brand, and I was looking for some questions to be answered about the product and how it's used. And this is amazing because when I went to their website to the help page and the chat page, it came up with this. I couldn't believe it. So it's like it's directing me straight to Reddit. And what I thought was, that's incredible. This brand puts a lot of trust in its product.
yeah,
It's like it's got a lot of faith in what it does because it's directing me as a new customer
yeah.
to what their other customers are saying about this. They've got a
Yeah.
lot of faith in it.
Yeah, it also shows how important authenticity is. So
Yeah, yeah,
this company is saying, look what other people are talking about, so
exactly.
you can get first-hand reviews from our
Mm,
customers.
yeah.
So yeah, I was really surprised about that because I've never seen that before either. Um, so another thing that you can do to stay visible is by having a multi-channel presence. So this looks like showing up across social platforms, blogs, doing a newsletter, or maybe you could do a podcast or anything that you don't have at the moment. Think about what you can add to your channels. So this keeps your brand visible across a wider digital ecosystem. So if you're not already doing this, now's the perfect time to think about where else your brand can be showing up, especially heading into 2026. And then the next thing that you can do to stay visible is by creating cited content. So this basically means creating high quality, trustworthy information that other sites or creators or even AI assistants want to reference.
Mm.
So basically, when your insights get cited, it boosts your credibility and also increases the chances of you appearing in AI summaries. So that it shows that you've got experience, so it shows that you've got knowledge. So creating good quality and trustworthy information is really important for visibility. And also for showing up in AI summaries. So even when your users aren't clicking through to your website, they're seeing your site or your brand being mentioned in those AI overviews. So the more reliable your content is, the more you'll surface in these new discovery paths, which is really important now. And then this brings us on to structured data. So if you're in marketing or if you've done SEO before, then you've probably already come across, but it's becoming increasingly important. So structured data helps search engines and AI tools to understand your content more clearly. It gives them basically an organized, machine readable information that they can show. So you've probably heard of things like schema markup as well. So that's what we mean here. So when you use structured data correctly, it's easier for the AI assistants or Google Summaries and other discovery engines to identify the key information in your content, or accurate details into the overviews, and also understand what your content is about. So ultimately, your brand will surface in more places and be more visible. So think of structured data as giving AI a clear map of your website. So the clearer the map is, the better chances you'll be recommended, cited, or featured as well. So by focusing on these four key points, you will naturally build authority over time and also ensure that your brand stays visible. So now that we've explored as well how you can stay visible, you might also be thinking about how we can actually write for people and machines as well. So we're going to focus on four key strategies today. So the first thing is to using a clear structure. So this basically means by organizing your content that is easy for humans and also for algorithms to follow. So this is also something you may be doing, but if not, then definitely something you need to be doing. You need to be thinking of clear headings and also subheadings, as these really guide your reader and also signpost AI machines to read through your content and also understand your content.
This is really interesting because I mean I've worked in marketing for over 30 years and I'm a pre-internet person. So when I started working in marketing, everything was in print.
Yeah.
So there was no internet, there were no social channels. And whenever we put together a piece of content, which might have been a brochure or a newspaper or a magazine, we always thought about the reader. So this is like traditional classic stuff here as well.
Yeah,
Headings, subheadings,
definitely.
mastheads, all of those things, they're really important.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see that, this is filtered into the digital world essentially.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how old tactics or old things that we might,
Traditional.
yeah, traditional things that we've done before is still,
It's still here.
it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
here and still really important as well.
It's communication.
Yeah.
When you're communicating something, if you follow and a good designer like we have at Capsule
Mhm.
will always follow that, that route
Yeah.
to deliver a piece of communication because it's always there to either to advise, to solve a problem, or to give information.
Yeah. And then the second tip is to be specific and transparent. So, in your content, just make sure that you're providing real details and also be open and also clear with your audience. So, by doing this, you're going to build trust with your audience and also it will help you show up in AI summaries. As trust is really essential in today's digital landscape, as lots of people becoming more wary from marketing tactics, and also I feel like they're becoming more obvious to people. So make sure you're just being more transparent and as authentic as you can be.
It's really good advice. Yeah.
It will really help. And then another thing that you've probably done before, or you know about, is FAQs. So FAQs really help answer common questions directly and clearly. It gives people quick access to the information they need. And I know not everyone wants to read through a long article,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I want to go straight to the meat and potatoes
yeah,
sometimes. Yeah.
Simon likes FAQs and direct answers. So for people, especially for people especially who don't like reading through
Mm,
long pieces of text to get the answer, this is really good. And then this is also really good behind the scenes for AI models. So this
mm,
is really easy for them to read, to understand and reference. So this means that your FAQ section will be more likely to appear in AI summaries, or the featured snippets, or any high AI visibility
interesting.
spots. Yeah, and they're quite simple and easy to do. You can do
Mm,
about like 5 or 10 of FAQs, and shouldn't really take too long to add them to, for example, your pages, or at the end of blogs, or different
mm.
product pages.
And just to add to that as well, if you do put FAQs into an accordion, so the answers aren't visible on the home on the screen immediately, people have to click. That's still crawlable by AI models as well. So even the hidden answers are absolutely necessary. So you can use accordions.
And then lastly, Simon touched on this briefly a bit
Mm,
before, is don't forget about standard SEO practices. So with all the everyone talking about AI and the changes, and there's been so many things going on in the digital landscape, it can be tempted to be like, oh, let's try this strategy, or let's switch up the strategy. But think about your SEO. Is that all okay? Have you
mm,
got a grounded SEO in place, and SEO strategy in place? And then if not, I'd say do that first, and then think about these other extra bits to have, and you can
mm.
start implementing them one by one. So this can be optimizing your meta descriptions, using keywords naturally, improving load speeds, keeping strong internal linking. These are all really important things that you still need to do, and these will help search engines interpret and also prioritize your content. So a good SEO foundation will support everything else that you do. So remember, writing for people and also writing for machines isn't about choosing one or the other.
Mm.
It's about bringing them together, and so your content can be engaging, trustworthy, and also discoverable. So now we're going to talk about socials, social media, and what's going on in there. So we're going to talk about Instagram first. But before we delve into that, um, I want, I was thinking about social media and how important it is
Mm.
for visibility, as plays a really huge part in it.
Yeah.
And if you use it effectively, it can be one of your strongest tools.
Mm.
So one thing that I learned recently, I went to the B2B Marketing Expo in London. So you might have, if anyone's a marketer here, then you might have been there as well. And it was
And if you
really
haven't, go next year.
yeah, it was my first time, and it was really interesting. And one of the things I learned there is that LinkedIn is actually becoming more of a trusted source for AI overviews, or ChatGPT, as it will bring sources of information from there, and it probably trusts LinkedIn over your own website.
Interesting.
So if you're not posting on there, then it's probably a good time to start posting on there.
Mm.
So let's start with Instagram, and um, talk about what's going on Instagram. So Instagram is maturing. The algorithm has shifted quite a bit. So it now favors genuine engagement over overly polished and promotional posts. So things like real conversations, thoughtful comments, and building a sense of community on there is really valuable now. So if you want your content to perform on Instagram, if you want it to perform well, try engaging with your audience, as it really helps to push your posts in the algorithm. And then the next thing is LinkedIn, which I love LinkedIn. So it's becoming a place that human storytelling and also thought leadership are doing really well. So posts that share personal experiences, lessons learned, or honest insights as well consistently outperform those like traditional corporate style posts.
Yeah.
And also I've noticed myself when I post on LinkedIn, um, all of my like corporate style posts don't really do well. I have like 3 likes and like no really like not really much engagement. But when I post more something about myself or more, my natural tone,
Yeah, I've noticed that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it will perform much better.
Mm.
So yeah, that's changed a lot of it on Instagram. We were discussing this earlier, and Simon was saying how it's LinkedIn was
Used
so
to be
much
like
more
the
different.
business place,
Yeah,
didn't it? It's the
yeah,
place where you would like, well, people used to say it was the place where you go to look for a job,
yeah.
but it's changed so much. And I think that's because people have more confidence and their behaviors changed on when they're
Mm.
using LinkedIn as well. And then, another quick tip for this, you mentioned about email as well and newsletters.
Yeah, so I was another thing that I learned recently is if you add your newsletter to LinkedIn, it really helps as it LinkedIn will try to push that newsletter as
Mm,
they want to bring people back onto LinkedIn. So if you have a newsletter, if you're doing that through email, it's really quick. All you need to do is copy the email and put it into LinkedIn, and post it as a newsletter. There's like a section in LinkedIn you'll see, which is like a dedicated newsletter section. So yeah, posting your content on there, and then also posting your blogs and articles on LinkedIn. So as I said earlier,
mm.
AI platforms are seeing LinkedIn as more authoritative than your website. So definitely post your articles and blogs and any
Interesting.
content you do on there as well. And then finally, let's talk about Reddit. We
Mm.
love Reddit as well. As it's becoming a very much on the rise recently. It's becoming a go-to platform for authentic opinions, niche insights, and it's where real and authentic conversations happen. So it's really valuable for understanding what people actually think. And earlier we talked about optimizing for brand mentions. So Reddit is a really great place to start doing that. So have a look on there and see if there's any conversations happening on there where you can join in, naturally where you can.
And I use this a lot, just to chip in there. I mean, I use this a lot myself now because I'm finding I'm getting fed links to Reddit, and I get so much information about things. I'm recently buying a
A
digital
telescope. Yeah.
telescope and time lapse camera for us to sort of extend some of the video production work we do. And I made my decision when I was reading real life reviews from people on Reddit.
Yeah.
And I found that a lot better than very often the websites of the brands that were talking about their products. It was a lot more. I got so much more insight from Reddit.
Yeah. So, as you think about these different changes and think about and ask yourself, how does your current social media strategy need to evolve?
Mm.
I think this is a perfect time to think about a 2026 strategy before we head into January or even at the beginning of January. You can start thinking about what you're currently doing on socials, or if you're not currently doing anything, then you might want to start thinking about it now. And then as we head into 2026, I feel like as I said, there's a really good opportunity to think about your strategy. So we've got a few things that you can do to prepare for 2026. Some of them are quick things that you can do. So we just wanted to share them with you. So first one is to take time and run a thorough content audit. So look for outdated pages, duplicate content, or anything low value that isn't serving your audience anymore. As you want to clear it out and make space for new content, that's that's relevant and that your audience will appreciate more, rather than things that you see that they don't really resonate with. Just remove them and update your content.
And if you want any more information about this, we've got links to both of us at the end. Bess is the expert here. She can definitely help if you want some pointers.
Yes, I'm free to chat on LinkedIn. I'm happy to chat to anyone who's in
Brilliant.
marketing and have a conversation. And then the next thing we have here is resource-rich content. So if you don't already do this, then it's definitely something to think about. So this can look like guides, webinars, downloadable resources, interactive tools. So this really gives people a real reason to visit your site. As now, as we can see, AI overviews are giving people content, but the thing that they can't give them is, for example, a webinar, an in-depth guide, or an interactive tool like a calculator. So definitely try to add those things that AI can't give people to your website, and you'll get more traffic because of those interactive tools or resource-rich content. And then the next thing we have is make sure you refresh what already works. So I think sometimes we just want to create more content and keep adding and adding to our sites, or think of like different ideas and switch around. But have a look at what worked in the past, and if it works well, then you can just repurpose that, update it, and use it again. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So
Is this something we do with our content?
yeah.
And I'm thinking about a piece of work we did a couple of years ago about EV charging.
Mhm.
And I think that we can look at that again because so much has changed in that landscape.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point actually.
And then I think it's a really good time to rethink your metrics as well. So instead of focus on vanity metrics like views or traffic, we know that's not really accurate anymore, as people are not going to websites as they used to. So think about
The zero click culture. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So think about engagement metrics now, shares or dwell time on socials, how long people are spending on looking at your social posts, as these really tell how deeply people are engaging or interacting with your content. So try to shift your mindset a little bit when you're thinking about metrics or when you're doing your reporting. And then lastly, we have is revisit your channel mix. So make sure that all of your channels are aligned and also working together. This will really help to build trust and authority, not just for your audience, but also for AI systems. So, as I said before, AI machines are looking at LinkedIn, so not just your website. So, make sure you're showing up consistently on all the different channels. So, this can be email, website content, community platforms, as this really reinforce your expertise. Where your audience is, and also where and also for AI as well. So hopefully by implementing these strategies, you'll be in a strong position for 2026 and also enter it with confidence. And then I think
Thank you.
that's all we have for the presentation today.
Yeah, so thank you, Bess. That's really insightful. And to
Thank
help
you.
you all take the next step, I suppose, we put together a 2026 readiness audit. So you can scan this now, and it'll take you through to an audit that we've built. And it's really quick to complete. And at the end, you'll get a personalized score that shows you where you currently stand and how prepared you are, I suppose, for the changes, challenges, and opportunities that are coming in 2026. And just to add, it's completely free as well. So it's not going to cost you anything and it's completely secure. You can access it by scanning the code, or you can head to the link on our website, which is also down below.
Yeah.
We'll also send you a follow-up email if you signed up because you've signed up for the webinar. So you'll be able to access the audit there too. And we'll also be sending this as a recording or posting it in LinkedIn. So you might want to watch it again in your own time. And if you want to speak to Bess and I as well, you can contact us via these links, which take you through to our LinkedIn profiles. So, we're both open for any chats or discussions about what we've discussed today or marketing in general. And again, that's all free as well. We always like to share. We're great knowledge sharers. Okay, so Charlotte's been looking at your questions in the background. So let's take a few of those questions, please, Charlotte.
So one of the questions asked was in relation to the drop in click-throughs and how best to feedback to senior leadership who aren't really updated with AI. And I
Mm,
suppose this ties in with how we should measure success if
mm.
clicks and views are becoming less reliable.
Yes. I think this is going back to the point you were making, Bess, about the, the vanity metrics.
Yeah, so definitely I'd say a focus on engagement metrics, and also maybe look at on your different channels, so not just on your website. Are you getting more engagement or people visiting, like for example, LinkedIn or engagement on there? And in terms of, I guess, presenting this idea to someone who's not in marketing, I'd say maybe just inform them if you're doing like a monthly report, put a section in there saying, this update or this change has happened. This is going to be ongoing now. So when we look, for example, at year-on-year metrics, these metrics would be lower. So kind of prepare them for that and say that this is a change that's happening for everyone, not just it's not just like a one-off, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah. That's a good
like an
point.
industry change that we just need to update and accept really.
It's
So
very true, and I think this is about educating your leadership teams as well about how the landscape's changing, and hopefully what we've shared with you in the webinar today will help you explain that, and you'll be able to watch the recording again. But also, we do have some really interesting guides,
yeah,
free downloadable guides on our website as well, which talk about this because we have this conversation all the time with our clients, and that's the reality of it. It's about going back to them with informed answers.
yeah,
Have
definitely.
we got time for another question, Charlotte?
We're kind of run over now. It's 12:36. So perhaps if there are any other questions, you could connect with best assignment separately or include it in an
Like,
email it
yeah,
to us
like we
so we
said,
can cover it.
like we said at the start, if you've put a question in the chat and we haven't responded to it here, then we will respond to you directly by email. We're really happy to do that. So it sort of goes without saying, thank you very much for joining us today. We really
Thank you,
appreciate your
everyone.
time.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to discuss anything we've covered, feel free to reach out to either of us, or you can go to our Hello at Capsule Marketing website as well, email address. Do check us out. Wishing you a happy Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or have a nice break in the meantime.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining, everyone.